It's a sector that was mooted in the National Development Strategy because of its potential to influence social and economic development through job creation and income generation. Aquaculture. It's a new and emerging sector that is being prioritized by the PPPC government. It built the Monrepo Aquaculture Station to conduct research, produce fingerlings, and provide training and information relevant to the sector. The Inter-American Development Bank said aquaculture is an area for development, and the tilapia study determined that it would be a profitable venture.
Fishery over the many years, in fact, has influenced the culture, the lifestyle of our people, but also it has brought about some level of prosperity and even upliftment, certainly upliftment of the living standards of many Guyanese. And whilst we can count on those achievements, the fishery sector today is one that has tremendous opportunities.
It is also being promoted by the Ministry of Agriculture to reduce the dependency on Guyana's oceanic resources. Aquaculture is one of the fastest growing industries in the country, as farmers in all 3 counties are investing in rearing tilapia, pacu, hassa, and shrimp. Guyana's geographical location and abundance of fresh water make it an ideal place for investments. Today, in excess of 5,000 acres of land are being used for aquaculture cultivation.
Increasing consumption of fish-based protein, the growing sector within the wider fishery has been aquaculture. In fact, we've seen that the output of aquaculture globally has, in fact, if you look at the percentage growth year on year globally, has outstretched that of marine resources. And in fact, consumption too is growing in terms of aquaculture. So there's that heavy and which we foresee to be a long-term sustainable demand. So for us in Guyana, that challenge or that global threat becomes an opportunity for us here. We can, if we manage sustainably as we're seeking to do, our marine resources, be able to preserve marine fisheries, but at the same time be able to develop at a very large scale aquaculture.
The socio-economic contribution of stakeholders in the fisheries sector was hailed by Minister Robert Bassot during a Fisherfolks Day 2011 event in Region 5, where there are successful aquaculture farms.
I want to salute our fisherfolks, marine, inland, all those who directly or indirectly work within the fisheries sector. As you know, the fisheries sector accounts for about 15,000 employees, 15,000 Guyanese, and hundreds of those too are persons who live in rural communities. And in some villages, fishing is the main and only source of livelihood. So we need on this day to recognize the socio-economic importance of fishery to the lives of Guyanese.
Government, in collaboration with the various international agencies, including the United States and United Kingdom Agencies for International Development, has made significant progress in increasing hatchery capacity, growing suitable fish species, increasing the availability of fish feed, and boosting technical skills training for stakeholders in the sector.
The UK really does think that the aquaculture sector in Guyana has great potential, and has real potential not just as a provider of fish products for the local market, but also for the export market. And the UK's main role thus far has been to provide an amount of breeding stock using this tilapia super male technology. And that stock has benefited a number of producers in Guyana, both directly and indirectly.
Our assistance over the past 6 years, along with those of our partners and stakeholders and you all, have, we believe, helped lay a good foundation for the development of aquaculture in Guyana. I'm convinced that that with this good foundation, the industry will become viable and booming in the very near future.
Cognizant of the need for more support, government will be allocating $120 million for the commencement of a national financial support program for the aquaculture sector.
The plan that we have as a government, but the investments that are being made by the private sector and the support by our partners, be it the UK, the US, a number of financial institutions, including the Inter-American Development Bank, we will be able to position ourselves in capturing those opportunities in the long run. But we do not want any level of complacency and we ignore the threats. And the main threat that we face is the dwindling, and globally, the dwindling marine resources in terms of marine fishery resources. And we have taken a very conscious decision working very closely with our partners. Take, for instance, the work we've done with the small fisher folks at the co-op society level, or what we call the artisanal fisher folk, or also the work we've done with the Guyana Seafood Trawlers and Processors Association. And I'm happy to say that the recognition of this threat, that is the dwindling or the potential for us, as it were, to damage or reduce the viability of marine fishery resources, that is shared by all stakeholders. So we do not have a very difficult task in bringing that level of awareness and motivating all to take the required action. So, for example, we've been able to reduce the fleet of trawlers by 20% over 2 years, and that was done by consensus. We did not have to, as it were, take an approach where if you don't agree, we will have to have strict enforcement. And I'm happy to say that we have developed that culture of recognition of the threat.
Among the areas where aquaculture is being practiced are Pomeroon and Essequibo Coast, Region 2, East Bank, Essequibo and Canal No. 2 Polar, Region 3, Mahaika and East Bank, Demerara, Region 4, Onpawak, Region 5, and on the Corentyne Coast, Region 6. It has been introduced in Region 1 as part of the National Secure Livelihood Program. Today, many of these farms are exporting their products.